نیشنل اسمبلی کا یہ متفقہ ریزولوشن جو فلسطینیوں کے لیے اظہار یکجہتی کے لیے تجویز کیا جا رہا ہے 17 مئی کا آپ کی اجازت سے پیش کر رہا ہوں. Mr. Speaker, this House expresses deep concern over the increasing violence and brutality perpetrated against the Palestinian people by the Israeli apartheid regime. Strongly condemns the systematic and institutionalized oppression and domination of the Palestinian people by the apartheid Israeli regime. Strongly denounces the systematic and brutal disenfranchisement, exclusion, and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people. Strongly denounces the attacks by the apartheid Israeli regime on worshippers in Al-Aqsa Mosque during Ramadan and attempts to stop the Azan. Denounces and rejects the continuing practice of expanding settlements through forced evictions by the apartheid regime, which are in violation of Article 49 of the 4th Geneva Convention. Supports the Palestinian people in their struggle for their right to self-determination. Denounces the practice of dehumanizing and delegitimizing the Palestinian struggle for self-determination through the use of terminology by governments and media attributing responsibility for the war crimes to victims of those war crimes. Reaffirms and expresses Pakistan's unwavering political, diplomatic, and moral support to the brave and resilient Palestinian people. Conveys prayers and condolences to bereaved Palestinian families and prays for the recovery of the injured. Condemns the deliberate destruction of buildings, housing, local and international media outlets in Sheikh Jarrah and Jerusalem, carried out with the intent to erase evidence of genocide being committed against the Palestinian people. Reaffirms Pakistan's unwavering support for the realization of the right to self-determination and other fundamental rights of the Palestinian people, as well as for the two-state solution based on the pre-1967 borders and a free, secure, viable, independent and contiguous state of Palestine with Al-Quds al-Sharif as its capital. Recalls relevant resolutions introduced by Pakistan in the United Nations regarding occupied Palestinian territories, especially the seminal US Security Council Resolution 271 that was adopted after the incident of burning of Al-Aqsa Mosque in 1969. Calls upon the UN, Security Council to take necessary action under Chapter 7 of the UN Charter to bring to an end the ongoing crimes against humanity being perpetrated against the Palestinians. Ensures Israel's compliance with the resolution of the UN Security Council, United Nations General Assembly, and the Human Rights Council, reaffirming the right to self-determination of the Palestinian people. Ensure Israel's compliance with the 4th Geneva Convention relative to the protection of civilian persons in time of war and its additional protocol. Ensure Israel immediately halts its aggression, which has violated the sanctity of Al-Aqsa Mosque, a holy site for more than 1.5 billion Muslims, and respect their freedom to worship and allow unfettered access to Muslims to repair any damage done to the religious holy site by Israel's criminal actions. Calls upon the UN Security Council, UN Secretary General, to establish an independent inquiry tribunal to investigate the crime of genocide by the apartheid Israeli regime against the Palestinian people. Calls upon the international community to take immediate cognizance of an action against the ethnic cleansing, genocide, and forced displacement of the Palestinian people, and to establish international protection mechanism for the Palestinian people. Demands that the international community ensure accountability for all past and present grave human rights violations and crimes against humanity being perpetrated against the Palestinians through fair, impartial, and independent accountability and trials. Calls upon the OIC to take immediate, decisive steps for the protection and safety of the Palestinian people and to break the illegal Israeli blockade of Gaza in order to provide humanitarian assistance.
Now I put the resolution to the House. The question is that the resolution as moved be adopted. All those in favor of the resolution may say aye. All those against may say no. I think ayes have it, and consequently the resolution adopted unanimously.